if you remember one statistic from what I'm saying, the one I would like you to remember is that the tax taken from the rich after this massive reduction in the tax rates doubled between 1978-79 and 2000-2001. It went from 11% they contributed to 22%, an enormous jump as a result of a lowering of the rates. Now, Polly Toynbee was on the radio this morning, a couple of times in fact, and she said in the Radio 5 interview that if you put a bit, it was unspecified, I'm sure she will specify later on today, if you put a bit more tax on those earning over 100,000, you would get £7 billion a year. Now, I was obviously concerned about this since it went directly contrary to what I'd been told. So I rang the Institute for Fiscal Studies and said, you know, what about this? I mean, 7 billion we could get. All we have to do is put up income tax on the over 100,000 a bit. And I spoke to Mr. Stuart Adam, should you wish to confer with him, confirm what I'm saying. And he said that according to their estimates, if you put every 1p you put on tax of those people who was making over 100,000, you would get in 800 million. It therefore follows that if you put on 9p, then you would get the 7 billion to which Polly was referring. So, okay, that's how you would get. And then he added the crucial rider, if no one responded. Meaning, if nobody changed their behaviour. So, add another 9p, and if nobody changed their behaviour, then you'd get in the money. The trouble is, we know from the history of the last 30 years that people would dramatically change their behaviour. How do people change their behaviour? I mean, I thought this may be obvious, but perhaps I should just run through it. There are 4 big ways in which you don't get the money in that you expect it to get in. One is that people avoid the tax. Another is that they evade the tax. Another is that they're disincentivized to working so hard or starting businesses they otherwise might have started. And the 4th way is that they emigrate, they leave.
We've heard discussion about capital gains tax, non-domiciled residents and UK resident companies. We've learned that private equity barons pay tax on their extremely large bonuses, not at 40%, but at 10%, a lower rate of tax than nurses who don't get any bonuses at all pay on their conspicuously smaller incomes. We've been reminded that there are a great many very rich people, non-domiciled people who live in London and pay no UK income tax at all, or that many of the best paid people in the city pay tax only on a relatively small fraction of their income which arises in the UK. We're told that if these people are made to pay tax like ordinary residents of the UK, they will leave the country. Well, I dare say some of them will leave the country, and I dare say we will nevertheless muddle through with 1 or 2 fewer Russian oligarchs and American investment bankers. What I want to assert this evening is to reassert a sense that this is a society in which great wealth exists, but wealth is based on real substantive success, and that wealth carries with it obligations. That people are expected to take their share of what happens in society and in the business of paying for it. And in the end, maintaining these values is a great deal more important than the loss of a few of these particular individuals.